Bridget Phetasy. She is a writer and the host of Walk-Ins Welcome. She has just written something for The Spectator, Stop Wasting Your Money on College. And Bridget, I got to tell you, it's very, very funny and right on the money. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Good.
How are you?
How old are you?
I'm 40.
You're 40.
I am.
And you dropped out of college your first year.
Yeah, many, many moons ago.
Okay.
I dropped out after the first half of my freshman year.
And you dropped out. I mean, that was at a time when everybody must have thought you were crazy. Nobody was talking about indoctrination or cost of school or or alternative ways to learn anything. Why did you drop out?
I'm the oldest of 5, and it was pretty mandatory that I go. It was just expected, and after my first semester, I knew I wanted to be a writer, and I saw what my loans were after one semester, and I just played the tape forward. I saw that basically if I got out of college, I would have these loans, that I would be strapped to the loans, and then I would end up having to take jobs that I hated and probably not be able to do what I wanted to do, which was write. And so I felt like I already knew how to write, and I knew basic grammar, and I took my chances. And it was, a long road, but I don't regret that decision for 2 seconds.
I'm currently having the discussion. My kids are 12 and 14. My youngest, my 2 eldest went to college. But now because of indoctrination, the debt, the ridiculousness of it, you don't need it. I mean, unless you're going to be a doctor, then you need it. But if for an average job, you can go to a trade school or you can learn online. It's endless the way you can learn.
That's the thing. There's so many other opportunities. You could go to a community college for 2 years and transfer and go to a state school for the final 2 and still get a degree if you're really gung-ho on getting a degree, or you just want to go to school to learn and try and figure out what you're interested in, which, fair enough. I had the blessing of knowing what I wanted to do pretty young. And that is something that I also don't take for granted. And I know that many people don't have that kind of vision or drive.
But you know what? You don't. Why would you spend $100,000?
I have no idea.
To find yourself. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
There's no return on investment, especially with the liberal arts schools now, the way that they are. I'm working on a piece and put a call out for people to tell me how they were self-censoring, and many of the emails that I've received are from students in colleges who feel like they can't express their opinion, their true opinion, which to me is insane because college is where you're supposed to learn how to critically think. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is not the primary motivation of teachers these days, even in schools younger than college, but in college in particular.
You write, for most of you, however, college will be a 4-year exercise in binge drinking, procrastinating, and chaining yourself to the dean's office in protest of a guest speaker who offends your delicate sensibilities. It's a bubble in which you will more than likely develop an Adderall addiction, a crippling anxiety disorder only exasperated by cry closets, and an attitude of enlightenment and moral superiority about privilege that will serve you well as a blogger in the outrage industrial complex and literally nowhere else in life ever.
How is that not worth the money? I don't understand.
By the way, there's 4 more paragraphs that I'd like to read on that, but it's the same kind of gist. You get it.
I think it's obviously written quite tongue-in-cheek and
no, but it's true. It is funny true. The way you say it, but it's true. You'll learn to indulge your feelings and believe that everyone else is responsible for them. You'll come to expect trigger warnings and safe spaces and everyone handling you with kid gloves. Basically, you won't learn much about life. It's all the freedom of adulthood with none of the responsibilities or consequences. That's all right.
It was interesting getting out of it was interesting being one of the people that didn't go to college and then seeing my friends get out of college and not have any idea how to do anything. So they don't teach you anything. I mean, I had at that point registered my car and had to go get an apartment and all of these very basic practical life skills. And my friends who just spent $100,000 on college couldn't do any of that. And what are you learning exactly? And if you get out of school with a degree, for instance, in gender studies, what are you going to do other than blog or teach gender studies? I really don't understand. I'm sure someone will, school me online with the other things you can do with this degree, but from my perspective, it's not practical. And how are you adding to? I think that the students that I've witnessed coming out seem to have, hand me a job because I went to college. So there's this attitude of just entitlement to life owing you something, as I said, and also just this inability to fail. You have to learn how to fail in life. We can't shield our kids from messing up.
I have to tell you, I had dinner with several people from Rwanda, and there were, I think, 5 women and a couple of guys that had come over from Rwanda and had gotten scholarships at Harvard and everywhere else. And these great schools gave them scholarships, and all of them but one were studying architecture, public systems, as far as, water systems. They were farming, all these things. One chose to stay here, and she was going to use her degree in feminine studies, women's studies, and the Holocaust. And I thought, here are, I don't remember how many there were, 5 or 6 people. 5 of them are going back and they are going to make their country better, legitimately going to help build their country. They're living in a country that did have a Holocaust, but it is the most remarkable story of healing I've ever seen that you will never see in any grievance class. And she's staying here. It was so remarkable to me of what a waste that was.
I don't know. I don't know enough about those the individuals, and I would say that in situations like that, I'm not sure what inspires an individual to make a decision like that. I could say I write, but I sometimes joke that I'm pretty useless. If the dollar collapses and if something happens and the grid goes down, I'm going to be pretty pointless.
You and I don't want to be around each other because they will actually eat you second to last because you'll at least be able to birth children. I'm the first one to go. I have no skills whatsoever except storytelling, and that one gets old really fast when people are hungry.
I'm 40 though, so the birthing years are approaching.
You better hope for the whole. You better hope for the meltdown to happen soon. Otherwise,
it needs to happen
you and me.
In the next couple of years, or I'm just basically going to be food on the Barbie.
Yeah, Bridget, do you see that there's a real advantage for people coming out of high school in that 4 or 4+ year head start? Where you have not only the financial part of the head start, where you're maybe $100,000 ahead of the game with no debt, but also you're able to work during that time and learn the business that you want to go into when everyone else is, screwing around at college.
Yeah, I definitely, what I learned? How to be a hustler. And not a hustler in the bad sense of the word.
Are you there? Go ahead.
My phone may die.
That's all right.
It's a landline, and apparently the batteries die in like 5 seconds. But,
wow, a landline. Who has
they still make them?
It's my apocalypse fears. No, I think that it taught me just how to. I have the confidence to be able to find
You're gone. Bridget, if
This
you
is
can
why
still
people don't
hear
have
us,
landlines.
this is why you don't have a landline. This used to be for cell phones.
Yeah.
No, can you please get on a landline?
Yeah.
She's on a landline now. It's like, oh, dear God, can you please live in the 21st century?
It's possible they're not even putting batteries in landlines anymore. I have one and I haven't used it in so long. I don't even know.
I have a landline and a phone like that.
Yeah.
And it shocked me. I just was like, it never works. We plug it in, it never works. The battery, I discovered it takes batteries. What? What batteries?
Brilliant.
It's plugged in.
Maybe this isn't a commercial for not going to college after all. None of us know how to use a phone.
Oh, no. Nobody. College students don't know how to use a phone, a landline. Bridget, we'll have to reschedule her if you can call back on not on a landline. We'll continue our conversation here. Let me just take 1 minute break, see if we can get her back on. Car Shield is our sponsor. Here's one thing. You know that if you're thinking you want a good job, you can make a lot of money as an auto mechanic. Now, what? Auto mechanics, they don't make good money. Really? They don't? Because there are no more auto mechanics.
Yeah.
They're desperate for auto
and demand.
Yes, it's the free market. There are no auto mechanics, so auto mechanics are being paid sometimes $100,000 a year. Oh my gosh, you're just a lowly $100,000 a year auto mechanic?
It's great.
And it's all computers. You can't do it yourself, blah, blah, blah. Look, you need an extended warranty because cars, fixing them today, it's all computers. A sensor goes, it's $1,000. If we can't get more people fixing the cars, the price is going to keep going up. Take that stress out of your life. If your warranty is expired, get extended coverage now through Car Shield. Do it now, because when this thing goes, man, you don't want to pay that bill. Car Shield. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Get covered now. 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Use the promo code Beck at carshield.com. We pause for 10 seconds. Station ID. Oh, she is back? Okay. All right. We have her back on. Bridget, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. All right. So can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Is everything okay now?
Yeah. I could hear you guys joking about how this segment was about how we can use a landline.
All right. So Bridget, here's the thing that I just read this the other day, and it's the only thing that gave me pause. My son, he's not going. He wants to be either like a nurse practitioner or something like that, or a structural engineer, which he has to go to college for both of those things. There's other options in front of him that don't require college. And I just read 2 days ago that made me go, oh, geez, I don't want to screw up my son's life. It said that those that do not have a college degree, men or boys that don't have a college degree now, they have a 40% unemployment rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to doom my kid to, a future of unemployment, but at least he would be unemployed with no debt.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel. But why is this the unemployment? What are the reasons that they cite? Just not having a degree?
Because it's a chicken and egg situation, right? A lot of people who the society says if you're responsible, you go to college. So therefore, people who aren't responsible don't go to college,
right? Or you're a dummy. You were not smart enough to get a degree. So, but everybody's got to have a college degree. So you just immediately brush off those who don't.
Right. I'm. So one of the things I was saying when I got cut off is that it taught me how that extra 4 years that I had in that space, I found my way into jobs that you would traditionally maybe need a degree for just because of tenacity, or you meet people, or you're out in the work field, one of which was working with autistic kids. And I was an aide privately because they didn't want people who had been trained in behavioral. They wanted more artistic people who might be able to think outside the box to do this program that then the families trained me in. And then I had all this life experience, and in a field like that, you really can't put, if I wanted to go work for a school system, of course I would need a degree, but to work privately, if you have a gift with, in a certain area, and it's an area where it's something like kids with autism, where it's challenging, and they're not going to care if you have a degree or not, if you have experience. And I think that, I was reading an article the other day that I've received a lot of pushback on this, obviously, and it was about how the death rate is higher for people who don't go to college. And again, there's so many socioeconomic factors that are involved in that. And I don't really know. I would have to see the whole entire study and how they're studying these factors, because my brother didn't go to college. My brother went out and became a deep sea fisherman, and then he taught himself construction just by working with guys who were construction. He bought a house. He invested in silver. He is now a fireman. He has a great life. He owns a house, and he's educated himself. And my other sister didn't go to college. She went to college, but she started a whole organizing people's lives business. And you don't need to, she said, I didn't need to go to college to help people basically Marie Kondo their lives. So I think that there are a lot of paths, and and the other thing I was saying is that not going to college taught me resilience, and it taught me that I have an ability to find work or create work or go, I was a waitress for years. And this is the other thing. I think people have this idea of work that's beneath them.
Yes.
And you just have to be able to take a job. You do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do it and have work ethic and show up. And
I had a lot of horrible, horrible jobs. And I've had some good ones, but I mean, when you're first starting, you have to be willing to do the worst. If they tell you clean the toilets, man, and just be the best at cleaning the toilets, and you will advance.
You will, and you'll learn from that job more than any other job, and you'll learn things that you never would have expected to learn, and you'll meet people, and how I love that expression, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
So you are recognized for your work ethic no matter what you're doing. When I was in Japan, this was something that really struck me, was their work ethic and just their presence and attention to detail. Even the bartenders, just how much pride they had in whatever job they had. And that was something that I took even when I was waitressing. It would have been very easy for me to be angry. And instead I just kind of approached it like, I'm literally being of service. I get to just go up and this is my job and I'm being of service. And
Bridget,
I just think people have that. They have to just fuck up.
Bridget Phetasy .com, British Phetasy.com. You can follow her. Thank you for being on the program. Love to talk again.